Okay, so we just finished the front. Now we are going to go to page 2 of chapter 4. Make sure you guys can see all of this. Okay. So I did already cover what's the danger of using, oh no I didn't. What is the danger of using the blank endorsement? So just as a reminder, the blank endorsement is where you just sign your name and sometimes you put your checking account. So as soon as you endorse a check, it is able to be cashed. So we want to write, once the check is signed or endorsed, it becomes something called bearer paper. Okay, and this means whoever has it can cash it. So that's why it's recommended that you don't sign the back of your checks, you don't endorse them, until you are either at the bank and going to deposit or on your way to deposit it, because if someone gets their hand on an endorsed check, they can go and they can cash it. Something else about checking accounts that people may not be aware of is that the FDIC insurance covers up to $100,000 per individual institution. So this is coverage if fraud happens or something like that were to occur. When you become millionaires, you'll notice what they do is number one, they diversify their investments, so it's not as simple as just checking accounts. But also, if you have, say, $200,000 and your bank, each account is only covered for $100,000, this is when you would want to consider depositing in maybe with multiple institutions to gain the maximum FDIC coverage. So if I had an account with $100,000 in Santander and I had an account of $100,000 in Fulton, they'd both be covered for that $100,000. So that's section 1. Let's move on to section 2, bank statement reconciliation. So bank statement reconciliation is basically making sure that the money that you have is all accounted for, is all somewhere. And so when you receive a bank statement in the mail, and if you've been keeping track of what you've been depositing and what you've been sending out, you need to make them match. You want to make sure that they're correct, and so we call that reconciling your bank statement. So when we do that, when we add things to our checking account, so if people give us money or we get our paycheck, those are called credits. Subtractions from a checking account are called debits. Some of us also have debit cards, which automatically takes money out of our accounts to pay for goods and services. The NSF fee. So this is a fee that you don't want to get, and what it means is non-sufficient fund fee. That is when you write a check. It's not a check. A check is written without enough or sufficient funds. So let's say I've got 25 bucks in my bank account and I write a check for $35. My bank goes to withdraw the money. They see that I don't have the money, so I am charged a fee because they had to process that transaction and I didn't have the funds. An example of this, I'll tell you a personal real life example of this, would be my oldest. My husband and I gave him a loan so that he could buy a car. Actually, at the beginning of this month, we got the monthly check that he sends to us, and we deposited it, and it bounced. He didn't have enough money in his account. He hadn't deposited one of his paychecks. So not only was he hit with a $15 non-sufficient fund fee, we were also hit with the NSF fee because he didn't have enough funds. So now our oldest, in addition to having to pay that $15 that the bank charged him, we are also charging him the $15 that we were charged with our bank. So it's an expensive lesson to learn, but one that you learn and then you hopefully don't repeat.